Batumi is a symbol of changes for Georgia. But when you look also back in Georgia, where we were, it was an amazing country in terms of being basically totally failed state. We were one of the most corrupt countries in the world. We had one of the highest criminal rates in the world. We were the same thing to former Soviet countries and some of the European countries, as Palermo used to be to Western Europe and to the United States in the last century. We had one of the highest levels of cynicism. Police was not paid any salaries. Police had to collect bribes and pay on the contrary to their superiors. This also concerned the state apparatus. The president, my predecessor, said publicly, what do you want? We cannot fight corruption because everybody is corrupt anyway. So we were very bad shape. Aware of that the half reforms would be useless, that our windows of opportunity was very small, we took over, and we took over with a very radical, drastic agenda of change. We should realize what we did in Georgia, because otherwise it's hard to explain how a country which is officially, technically, according to its 100 times bigger neighbors, is at war with its neighbor because that neighbor does not recognize our borders, does not recognize our government, wants our government officially out. They want to depose us, and they're saying it. The neighbor that doesn't even recognize ceasefire agreement that it itself had signed. We still had 7% growth last year. We are expecting 8 to 9% this year, and hopefully we'll go back to double digits starting from next year. I think what really happened in Georgia is a mental revolution. I think today Georgians have totally changed the way they think of themselves, of their prerogatives, of their responsibilities, and of their relationship with the society and the government. We are moving parliament to Kutaisi. We are decentralizing the country. We already moved the constitutional court to Batumi. It works very well. Kutaisi is amazingly spectacular country, with grandiose building of new parliament, amazingly spectacular place and city. But the idea behind it is that when you build meritocracy, equal opportunities, it's also equal opportunities for regions. It's also equal opportunities for suburbs. It's also equal opportunities for all social classes, including people from deprived families. That's when society really moves forward. And from that point of view, I think we have done some job. We still have some way to go. You know that we have almost 500,000 multi-ethnic group of Georgian citizens expelled from their houses. This was not ethnic cleansing of Georgians in several. We have lots of, for instance, Greeks. 30,000 Greeks were expelled from Abkhazia. We have lots of Jews, Ukrainians, Estonians, Ossetians, half of the ethnic Abkhaz, 100% of ethnic Georgians expelled from most areas of former South Ossetia, Skhinvali region, and from Abkhazia. And we have in one place almost no population left, and in another only less than 20% of pre-war population. We have troops that don't allow people back, and these troops are there under the flag of Russian Federation. And despite this fact, we declared the policy of constructing unilateralism towards Russia. We had we issued the decree that Russian citizens can enter Georgia without visas. No, any Georgian, it's hardly possible for any Georgian to enter Russia. And we expect 1 million Russian visitors this year already. Despite several very strong statements by Russian foreign minister that it's dangerous for Russians to visit Georgia. Lots of Russian officials have been coming here, or lots of Russian opposition members have been coming, have been studying and raising Georgian reforms as their flag for change. They've been saying continuously that we need Georgian reform as a guideline how Russia can change. We've seen lots of Russian businesses coming here, businessmen coming here. Indeed, there are lots of Russian investments also in this city. And 2 or 3 days ago, Russian former president and now Prime Minister Medvedev, who was in his confirmation hearings in Russian Duma, when asked about Georgian reforms at the hearing where he had to be confirmed, said the following: "You know, I hate Saakashvili But one has to acknowledge that Georgia has done successful reforms, and we have to copy and implement them in Russia. When did it happen in history? Last time when Russia invaded some country, didn't oust its government, couldn't oust its government, couldn't occupy most of territory, that the government survived, that the country survived overall, and few years after that, Russian invader has said, wow, it's interesting to look at, maybe we should learn from them how to rule our own country. And that's the most powerful testament to what Georgia stands for in this region, and also including the Russians, and I think hopefully Europe-wide. Because it stands for, it's a remarkable story of survival and success against all the odds. And we have elections now in October, and this is, I think, the last, it's very important on the one hand for Georgian credentials, but it has also a huge security dimension to it. And the OSCE is an organization for security and democracy at the same time. And it has security dimensions to it because in parallel to our elections, our northern neighbor has called for big trainings of their troops exactly in parallel time of elections. They moved it 1 month later or 2 months later. They would usually do it in summer. And now they've supplemented it with ODKB, so-called collective organization, mass training at the same time, exactly at the timing of our elections. That's why we need genuine organizations. That's why we need genuine pro-democracy parliamentarians, genuine observers, genuine transparency starting from today, not just the day of elections.